Hello, my name is Nathaniel Brown. I'll be doing a dissection and anatomy of a sheep's heart for Human Anatomy 235 for Azusa Pacific. We're going to go through and just point out the exterior of the heart, go from the top to the bottom and left to right with naming the different structures. We'll look at the exterior of the heart. We've got the epicardium, the myocardium, which is the muscular layer, and the endocardium, which is the interior layer of the heart, to make three layers. We've got a few of these structures already pinned out. On the bottom here we have the apex, or the base of the heart. So the left ventricle will pump up and out rather than a down and out type of motion. It actually pumps up, it's upside down in the chest, so the base of the heart is actually on the bottom. Back here we have the vena cava, which goes into the right atria, and then we got the right auricle, which is the muscular portion of the atria, and we got the right ventricle, which leads to the lungs, this is the low pressure side of the heart here. Then here we have the interventricular sulcus. It's going to be the division between both ventricles, the right and the left. So this is the right ventricle, or correction, the left ventricle, which is supplies the entire body full of blood. Here we have the right auricle, or the left auricle, which is the muscular portion of the left ventricle. This gets the blood back from the lungs through the pulmonary artery. Correction, the pulmonary vein goes from the right ventricle to the lungs via the pulmonary artery, the only artery that actually pumps deoxygenated blood, and the pulmonary vein is the only one that receives oxygenated blood. The only kind of difference there. Up here on top, we already pointed out the vena cava. Then we have the brachiocephalic artery, the left common artery, carotid artery, and then the left subclavian. So that points out most of the anatomical structures that we have on the exterior of the heart. The back here, or the main arteries that are in the sulcus, is the right coronary artery, and then the left coronary artery, which leads to the back here, which leads to the difference. So those are the main arteries that kind of go into the sulcus here, or the divisions of the arteries, or the ventricles. Flip it over to the back of the heart here. We've got the posterior sulcus here that has the left coronary artery in it, and the coronary sinus, which is between the left atria and left ventricle. We'll be able to open this up and kind of give a better view of it. Alright, so we've already looked at the exterior of the heart. We're going to look at the interior. We're going to look at the right atria and right ventricle. Up top here we have the pectinate of the auricle on the right. It's just these little muscle strands up top here. And then we're going to go down a little further. We're going to see the bicuspid valve, or the tricuspid valve here. Kind of got destroyed when I opened it up. The tendinate here helps keep the structural stability of the valve itself from prolapsing and allowing back pressure back in the atria when the ventricle contracts. You can see here the myocardium, which is the muscle portion of the heart. It's smaller on the right side than the left, and in a minute I'll be able to show you the difference between the two. And then that's due to just the job and nature of the difference. The right side is going to be pumping deoxygenated blood back to the lungs, so it's a shorter trip, less pressure. Look at the left ventricle now. You can see that the myocardium is definitely thicker due to the purpose of the left ventricle to pump the blood to the remainder of the body, unlike the right ventricle that gives it to the lungs. You can see a lot more structure in here than the right ventricle, just due to the size we're able to open it up. We got a bicuspid valve, which is a lot stronger than the tricuspid, because you only have two different parts rather than three. Got the tendinate that helps keep it closed. We got the septum here that you can see. Got the the same atria, the same as the right-sided, and you can see the interior lining is a lot more bulkier due to the purpose. We've got the pupillary muscle, which is here, and then we've got the different valves that are going to lead up and out. Up here on the atrial, up on the leading out of the left ventricle, we're going to have the aortic valve, which is up here on the aorta. Keeps it from back pressuring back into and coming back into the ventricle after it pumps out, kind of like a backflow system, so it doesn't seep back in and kind of mess up the whole system. The right ventricle has the same sort of thing, but it's on the pulmonary artery, or correction, the pulmonary artery does the same thing, keeps it from, checks it back in, allows it to keep from backfilling back into the atria and backing up the entire system. The pulmonary valve is a semi-lunar valve, which is kind of like a crescent shape, and the aortic valve is the same. So review, we went over the exterior portions of the heart, we went over the epicardium, the myocardium, and the endocardium, went over the different geographical portions of the heart, went over the two atria, the two ventricles, the difference between the two, how it's a two-sided pump, one's a high pressure, one's a low pressure. The low pressure goes to the lungs because it doesn't have much to travel and doesn't have the resistance, the vascular resistance. So then the left side goes to the rest of the body, and how it sits upside down in the chest, and the bottom or the apex of the heart is at the bottom of the heart, and it pumps up and out to the body. So it goes up through the aortic arch and out to the body. So this is just the overview and the review of the dissection of the heart for Human Anatomy 235 for Zozo Pacific. Thank you.